Assalamu alaikum, ladies. Alhamdulillah, I finally did it. I actually wrote a book. It's dedicated to all the single Muslim mothers out there, hence the name How to Be a Single Muslim Mum. Inshallah, it's available as an ebook, paperback, and it will be available as an audio. Alhamdulillah. Barakallah feekum, sisters, for the support. Check out the link in the description to get yours. The Niqabi Diaries, Season 4. Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode, season 4 of the Niqabi Diaries. Alhamdulillah, we have with us a sister to share her story of how she came to wear the niqab.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm so happy to be here. And I honestly love these series, and I always listen. Okay, so my name is Asma Korai, and I live at Karachi, Pakistan, and I'm a homeschooler and now a remote worker. So, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, sister, mashallah. So could you tell us a little bit about your Islamic background, inshallah, and how you got to be wearing the niqab?
Okay, so basically, I'm raised in an Islamic family, Alhamdulillah, and my parents were practicing and they brought us very well. And my father did the best tarbiyah of me and my siblings. So when I was 12, and that was the time when niqab became fard on me. So my father just like called me and sat with me and he explained me like why should I wear the niqab, and then he told me whole told me about sharai parda, and after that I started doing sharai parda when I was 12 years old. And
Mashallah,
my
sister,
mom
Allah barik. Did your mom wear it as well?
just yeah, my mother used to wear it when like I've always seen her wearing the niqab, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, sister, mashallah. So could you just kind of slowly walk us through what your first experience wearing the niqab was like?
Okay, so I was very young, as I was only 12. So at first it was uh, hard for me because when we go to our relatives' home or like to our grandmother's home, they lived and like they live in another city, and we used to go in vacations and live with our cousins and had fun. But like when I started wearing niqab, I was like, how will I go and live there, and it might be a big deal for me. And at the initial days it was hard for me because every one of them was just chilling outside and playing and doing things. I remained sitting in the room, and at first it seemed like it's a challenge for me, but alhamdulillah things became easier. But as we are human beings and we are not perfect, so I've also made mistakes in my niqab journey, and Allah Ta'ala will forgive me, obviously. And at the end of the day, we all are human beings and we are sinners. So alhamdulillah for everything.
Alhamdulillah, sister, mashallah. So I take it then that you had the support of your families wearing it, since your mother was always wearing it, and obviously your father, educated you about it as well. So before you started wearing the niqab, was you wearing a hijab previously to that? Did you used to wear that, the headscarf and things? As a child growing up, even occasionally, was that something you were accustomed to?
Yeah, my mother used to like dress me and my siblings, like we are seven sisters. So my mother used to dress us modestly, and I always wear the hijab before I started doing the niqab. So yeah, I was wearing modest clothes and hijab as well before the niqab.
Alhamdulillah. So you mentioned about your cousins and everything like that, and obviously that's a challenge that a lot of us Muslim women face. The issue of mixing with those relatives that are close to us but not close enough to be our mahrams. When did you have any do you have any other kind of experiences, for example, with traveling wearing the niqab, and if so, like what has that been like?
I haven't traveled outside the country, so I don't have that experience. But yeah, I have traveled inside my country. So it has always been a good experience with my niqab on.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah. So what kind of you mentioned earlier that you're a homeschooler, and I'm very interested about homeschooling because I used to be a homeschooler as well myself. Alhamdulillah. And also because I'm interested to hear about the homeschooling experience. For a sister in Pakistan, how is it? Because it's not something that I'm that knowledgeable of. Like, how do you go about doing it? Because I know, for example, I live in West Africa now, and homeschooling is something that's completely alien to, it's an alien concept to people here. So, what is it like in Pakistan?
Oh yes. Whenever I tell people, they always ask questions like, obviously this is a very challenging and interesting topic as well. So I'll tell you the story. So first of all, when me and my two younger siblings, we were homeschooled by our father. I went to school when I was like 10 years old, and my younger sister was 8, and my brother was 9. So the teachers were like, did you how do you pass the test as you were the like homeschoolers? But I studied 12 classes, like from 5 to 12, going outside. And after the COVID came, my father switched all of us back to like the homeschooling thing. As from my younger siblings, uh, they have gone to school like only for 3 years, and the other one went only for 2 years, and the young like we all have been going outside only for like few years. But it's always been a good experience. After the COVID camp, my father was like, uh, the whole world is turning towards like learning technology, and uh, many of the things are being online, so you can stay at home and learn many new things. And as you know that there's a university over YouTube where you can learn like from psychology, from computer languages to everything. Like so, after the COVID, we switched to homeschooling. We started learning computer languages, and then I learned digital marketing, business development, and I've also done basic psychology courses, as the Islamic psychology is my dream career. I will pursue that soon, inshallah. And I have done Islamic studies. I'm graduated in Islamic studies, and I have done that degree program staying at home. And my siblings are also doing different types of courses like AI and cybersecurity uh, by staying at home and learning from online resources. And my father also purchases paid courses for us, and we also do free courses online. And the like me and my other siblings teach our younger siblings, like we teach them Quran, and I also taught my little sisters Tawheed. And uh, we also teach them subjects like Quran, sorry, Urdu, English, maths. And my little sisters, like one is 6 years old and the other is 10. They both are very good graphic designers now, alhamdulillah. Only by like they do lots of practice and they have interest in these things. And my 12-year sister, she started learning computer languages when she was 9. So she's now a software engineer. She's expert in these things now, alhamdulillah, mashallah. So homeschooling is very good. Like in Pakistan, it's not about being in Pakistan or being in like Europe or anywhere else. It's about like how you make up your system at home and how you teach your kids or your siblings. It's all about that. You have to make your own system. We all are learning and helping each other to grow. So all the credit goes to my father and my mother as well. So Allahumma barik lahum.
I mean, that's just amazing, subhanAllah. I love to hear these kind of stories, especially with regarding to homeschooling. And it's a really pleasant surprise for me. 'Cause I didn't know when I first contacted you that you was, you know, mashallah, homeschooler as well, alhamdulillah. So that's really nice to hear. And definitely I can share, you know, I can relate to some of the things that, you know, you said regarding the questions that people ask you, and definitely to have asked your father as well, because people are always concerned about certain qualifications, you know, the regular ones that, you know, people would generally go to school and get. But the, you know, your father, alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik lahu, he's obviously very clued up as to what's going on in the world, because one of the main issues that a lot of people are facing now, especially like I'm coming from the UK, so one of the issues is that people finish school and a lot of the qualifications that they have is still not enough for them to really, you know, go forward in, you know, in future technologies and things like that. The schools system is actually quite far behind with, you know, with regards to, you know, being updated. With these kind of things, and even for even some for the schools who have taken on, for example, languages like the JavaScript and things like that, and teaching children in schools, it's still not up to the level of what you would, you know, what you could complete in these online courses, even the free ones, subhanallah. Um, so it's really good that alhamdulillah your father is aware of that, because I think, you know, sometimes as well people think that, you know, those coming from outside of Western countries, you know, don't they that, you know, that that people are backwards, that they're not clued up to what's actually going on in the world. But this, you know, your father alhamdulillah, he's proven that obviously isn't the case. Alhamdulillah. So, and it's nice as well, to see a practicing Muslim family who, you know, they understand these things as well. It's about a balance between the deen and the dunya. Alhamdulillah, Allah barik, mashallah. So, you obviously spend a lot of time at home then. And what would you say you do for like your social activities and things like that? Because that's often a concern for, you know, people who are considering doing homeschooling, and you know, they feel that maybe their children are not gonna, you know, be very social, or they'll become antisocial because they don't get to mix with others. How does your family combat, you know, those kind of things as well?
Okay, so I totally agree with you. So this is a myth that if you are homeschooler, then you are antisocial and you can't like make friendships and things like that. There are many homeschooling communities, like you can join them, and they like uh, they always gather, like they do like gatherings, and then they do different activities as well. And my father also takes us to like outside, and we also do socializing. It's not about that. It's like you have to make a proper homeschooling system. And I have seen that homeschooler kids are more smart than the schooling ones, because they are not they are not under the pressure of just memorize the things and not understand the things. They are always memorizing the things. And I have not seen like many kids that they understand the things properly. They are just studying under pressure and doing all those things. um, the homeschooler kids all like do many activities. They do painting, they do like designing, and they also write stories. As when and it's a funny part of our homeschooling journey, that when we started doing homeschooling in 2019, then all of us suddenly came to know that we have a writing talent in us. I used to write from my childhood. Like I used to do journaling and write like many things and poems as well. But when we switched to homeschooling, we started writing so many things. Like my sisters started writing novels and poetry and all of those things. And we all also love reading books, and we have like a library at home. So I think the homeschooling kids can have a lot of time to write and read and do other things. Like if my 12-year sister was at a school, her teachers were never going to tell her that you can become a software engineer, you can learn computer languages. And I've also learned like some computer languages being at home. So mashallah, she's really like intelligent more than her age fellows, and like the kids who are going to school. uh, so there is a great difference between homeschoolers and like school going kids. So it's about making a system, and if you are homeschooling your kids, you will become more closer to them, and they'll share their like feelings with you, and they'll also share the things. uh, like many of the children are nowadays hiding their things from their parents, and they are sharing with their friends. So if you are doing homeschooling your kid, they will become closer to you and they'll become your friends, and it's really important in parenting. And as you know, because you are also married.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah, I agree definitely with what you're saying. I've had similar experience myself with my own children. Alhamdulillah, it was definitely, really good. And I think even more so now, there's so much available, like you said, Alhamdulillah. And mashallah, you just touched on the topic of marriage there. So, bringing it back to the issue of niqab, is that like obviously your parents are the ones who have encouraged you to wear it in the first place. Would you say, as a young woman, you feel concerned about, being able to find a spouse because you wear the niqab? Because this is one of the questions that a lot of young sisters face when they decide they want to wear it. And sometimes, for that reason, a lot of parents don't support their young daughters to wear the niqab because they feel that it's going to be, something which, prevents them or kind of makes it difficult for them to be able to find a spouse. So like you talked about having a close relationship with your parents. Alhamdulillah, Allah Mubarak. May Allah preserve that. I mean, so is this something that you've already discussed with your parents? And what are your feelings about this particular issue?
Okay, so I always think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written everything like in our destiny before we were born. So this thing should not stop you from wearing the niqab and from doing shara'i parda. And the parents should also understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who will provide good spouses to their daughters. And it's not about like I have seen many niqabis getting married earlier than the ones who don't wear the niqab. So uh, if this thing is being delayed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and things are not going into your favor, so just think that this behind every delay there is a khair, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has his own plans for you. So sometimes we become tired and we think that uh, why am I not like getting married, or why my daughter is not having like getting any good proposal. So just leave it on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and obviously make duas. And I never think that niqab is a barrier in these things, because uh, in our Islam, the Prophet Muhammad SAW has also given the permission to see the face of a woman. If a person wants to marry someone, he can see her face. So and the most important thing is that a person should get married to a family uh, who is religious and who have the same values like you. So these things should be seen before thinking that, like before being confused or being left out. So yeah.
Absolutely, definitely, 100% agree with you there, sister. Mashallah. I think that these are things that a lot of people don't take the time to think about, and I think because of the disconnect that there can be, that can exist sometimes between parents and children, and I've seen this a lot in the West. Sometimes, there's no kind of like cohesion or communication between the parents and the children. Exactly, what would be best for, the child that wants to get married later on, because obviously there's sometimes parents out of desperation in the West. This is the from the culture that I'm coming from and what I've seen. Some parents out of desperation, maybe they're coming from African countries or Asian countries, and they've got children that they've been born and raised in the UK, for example. there's a difference in the culture. So then sometimes out of desperation, some parents look to find a spouse from, back home, whatever country that they're coming from. And as a result, there's, like maybe some kind of, the disparities. There's not like, they're not like on the same page with regards to what they're really looking for. And some children are happy to go along with the decisions of their parents, and some are not so happy to go along with them. But it's nice that when as alhamdulillah, you've been raised, obviously you're raised in the same country as your parents as well, so the culturally you'll have more similarities, but there's always a difference in culture between generations as well, isn't it? And alhamdulillah, again, your father, mashallah, he is clued up to like what's going on in the world now. That's very evident. So alhamdulillah. And what I like what you mentioned there about looking for those families or marrying into a family that has the same values and the same principles as you, because this often as well sometimes can go amiss, and especially when it comes to matters of the deen, I think, because sometimes people focus on even Muslims, especially sometimes when they're looking for spouse for their children, or people themselves are looking for a spouse, they focus on more the aspects of the dunya. And I'm not saying that the dunya itself is not an important consideration to take into place with regards to looking for a spouse, because obviously it is. But sometimes that is given a higher, like such a high priority, that the matters of the deen and what an individual may be looking for to get out of life, that it can be overlooked somewhat and then put on the back burner, maybe, as they say. And therefore, when a marriage does take place, then there's no kind of there's very little cohesion, or maybe the couple might not get on because they don't really share the same kind of goals or outlook in life. SubhanAllah. So I think that's really important, alhamdulillah. So tell me about your we mentioned a little bit before about interaction with others and stuff like that. What's your online space like? Do you did mention that obviously you're studying online and everything, so do you mix a lot with sisters then online? Do you have a community of sisters online as well as offline? Like, give me some kind of insight as to your kind of experience and kind of social interactions, inshallah.
I run a blog on Instagram named bookish.writer. So I have met many amazing sisters there. For the community thing, yeah, we were in contact with a community, homeschooling community at Karachi, and we also went out for some gatherings and outings with them, and it was a wholesome experience. Uh, and for now, I don't have any a proper community of sisters homeschoolers, um, and I think I would love to connect with these types of sisters. But many of the sisters on Instagram DM me and ask me, and they ask for homeschooling tips and things like that. Then we discuss all these things.
Okay, mashallah. So tell me about your Instagram bookish writer. What made you want to start that, and what is it about? Explain to us, inshallah.
Okay, so when I started writing, after COVID, I thought that I should share my write-ups on Instagram, and I started writing for Deen, and I wanted to connect people to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So my basic niyyah was for that thing. After that, I started sharing that. I give reviews of the books that I read, and I also share the write-ups and some of the research that I do.
Okay, mashallah. Alaikum barik. So would you say that there's a difference? Have you seen any difference between how sisters who wear the niqab get treated as opposed to sisters who wear the hijab, just wearing the scarf? Do you think there's a difference in the treatment between them, like from the Muslim community where you live?
Sometimes there's a difference, but um, hijabis and niqabis are treated differently. Because many of the people might think that a niqabi who is wearing a proper niqab, I'm not talking about the niqab, stylish niqab, colorful niqab. I'm talking about the proper niqab, uh, maybe some people think that they are extremists, or uh, like some people also have things thoughts like they are terrorists. So obviously then the niqabis are not given that much good treatment as the hijabis, but there are many places where the niqabis are always in front, always forward in many things, like they are doing amazing work, as you know. As like I'm working remotely in a different company, and they are non-Muslims, but they treat me very well. Alhamdulillah, I'm grateful for this thing.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah. So are you working from home then, and what job are you doing at the moment?
Yeah, I'm working from home and I'm a business developer at an Indian company.
Mashallah, Allahumma barik. So could you give us a little bit of details about that as well? I wasn't aware of this before. So could you give us some details about your work and how you got into it actually? I know you obviously you're homeschooled, but what kind of courses or what experience would you say that you gained through your homeschooling that helps you to get this specific work?
Okay, so I have been doing various courses, like online courses, like digital marketing, and um, as digital marketing is a very vast field, and there are many fields and which come under the digital marketing. So I applied for this job 4 months ago. So business and sales was very like a new thing to me, but then I got the email that um, they wanted me to make an assignment. So I went for it, and I've made the assignment, and there were many applications for this job. Then I cleared this round, and then they asked me to like do a presentation of that thing. I also cleared that round, and then they did a interview, and after that they chose me for this role. And at first I was thinking that they might different treat me differently because I'm a Muslim and I'm a niqabi, but as you see that I'm working very well and doing things before deadlines and all this stuff, so it has become a lot more easier for me. And remote work, I will always choose remote work because my father also wants us to be empowered, but he is not like, he's against going outside, like women should go outside and work. So we have chosen this thing for us, like stay at home, and staying at home doesn't like stop you from working or earning or studying. So yes.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah. So that's really interesting as well. So I think even a lot of sisters who want to apply for jobs, this is one of the things that worries them when they happen to be wearing the niqab. They're you know like maybe get paranoid or anxious about the fact that they do wear the niqab, and how would they be able to even find a job online, because there's the whole interview process. And with regards to online, maybe you're having your interview online with with a company or whatever, and you'll be using your camera and things like that. Some people they get anxious about it, and company profiles and things like that. And when it comes to CVs, people having their pictures on their CV. Some people use their pictures on their CV, obviously. Um, so all these kind of things come into sisters' minds when they're thinking of applying for work. And I know some remote work as well. People might physically actually go to the company or have to go into the company to physically meet who the employer before they actually have the chance to be able to work there as well. So a lot of these kind of things can make a sister feel anxious about doing online work. But I remember, that just brings back to the point that you mentioned earlier, about the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already written our destiny for us. So, I think this is beautiful, a beautiful reflection for us as well, that you mentioned that point, because it shows that when you have the tawakkul in Allah, that whatever is for you has already been written. So, that's the kind of mindset that we need to have with regards to anything in life, whether it's marriage or looking for employment or anything, inshallah.
Yes, subhanallah, you are right.
What I wanted to ask you as well is about in general in the area that you live in. Okay, so you obviously you're a homeschooler, alhamdulillah, and coming from a practicing Muslim family. Would you say that the niqab is something that is very common where you live? Do most families, the women practicing the niqab and things like that, so it's easy for you to blend in? Would you say that?
Yeah, as I live in Pakistan and my city is Karachi, so there are many women wearing who wear niqab, and it's easy to wear niqab in Pakistan, alhamdulillah. Uh, and many of the women just wear for traditional purpose, uh, but like the important thing that I always think is like that we should all wear it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So yes.
Absolutely, that's definitely true. It's important. I think, especially since, like you mentioned, when people wear things for cultural reasons, what often happens is that when they maybe move to a different country or even travel to a different country, that the niqab or the hijab is not, the cultural norm, they then abandon it. Unfortunately, this can happen sometimes. So it's definitely important to wear it for the sake of Allah and have the understanding of why you're wearing it. This is definitely the most important thing, alhamdulillah. So would you say that in your time you've met any sisters who have been maybe forced into wearing the niqab because it's seen as a cultural practice? So do you think there's any the sisters who are being forced into wearing it?
No, I haven't seen any sisters like who are forced to wear the niqab. Um, the thing I have seen is that many of the sisters wear in traditional sense, uh, like when they are going to school or college, they are wearing the niqab, and if when they are going for any wedding or like going for outing or gatherings, they are not wearing it. And like you mentioned that when they go outside and they have to abandon the niqab, then they do it. So I have not seen anyone who is forced to wear the niqab.
SubhanAllah. Alhamdulillah. So what about would you say that there's any sisters, for example, who that you've been in contact with who would really like to wear the niqab, but they're not allowed to wear it? Maybe there's their families, for example, that are against them wearing it for the reasons that I've mentioned, for example, earlier on. They're afraid that their children, might not be able to find a spouse or something like that, so they rather them not wear it. Have you met any sisters like that?
Yeah, I met my sister online. Like she's a really good friend of mine. She told me that she has went through a lot of torture physically and mentally because she is from India. When she started wearing niqab, her family was like, "Why are you wearing this?" And there are so many barriers because of this niqab. So she has been through a lot of mental and like physical pressure only because like she was wearing the jilbab and niqab. But now, alhamdulillah, she's fine as her family is a Muslim, obviously, but subhanallah.
SubhanAllah, may Allah make it easy for her, I mean, and all the other sisters who are, treading this path as well. I mean, SubhanAllah. So, what kind of advice, sister, would you give to those sisters like yourself, maybe this similar age or having the same or similar aspirations in life, not married yet? What advice would you give them, if they're contemplating wearing the niqab?
Okay, I would say that first learn some things about Islam, like uh, research and learn that why is niqab so important to wear, and then after they learn this thing, they should go for it without thinking any like thing, uh, without thinking that it might be a barrier for them. They would start wearing it, and then they should wear the niqab only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not for any like worldly purpose or things like that. They should research, learn, and line about the importance of niqab, and then they should go for it without thinking any other thing.
Okay, inshallah, mashallah. So, and finally, sister, what does the niqab mean to you?
To me, niqab is a symbol of my faith, identity, and spiritual connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And wearing the niqab is a personal choice I have made to demonstrate my devotion and submission to Allah. It's a reminder to myself to cultivate modesty and inner beauty. And niqab is not just a piece of cloth for me, it's a representation of my values, beliefs, and commitment to my faith. And I wear my niqab with pride, confidence, and a sense of empowerment, knowing that I'm fulfilling a fundamental aspect of my religious practice. And niqab is a source of strength, comfort for me. Whenever I wear niqab, I feel very confident. And I think if I was not wearing the niqab, I wouldn't have been felt so much confidence. Alhamdulillah, I feel so much confidence wherever I go with my niqab.
So, alhamdulillah, sister, barakallah feekum. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today. I've really enjoyed our talk. And inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and your family abundantly, you and your parents and your siblings, and continue to, give you the tawfiq to continue on what you're doing, alhamdulillah, because, mashallah, your parents are definitely working hard and you're also a credit to them. So, may Allah bless all of you. Ameen.
Allahumma ameen, and jazakallah khairan kathiran. I had a lovely time talking to you, and thank you so much.
Me too, sister. Barakallahu feekum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.